Hey, we're here with Dan Gallagher, and he's here to talk about some of the Veterans Day celebrations. So
Tell us about yourself, Dan. You are with American Legion Post 101.
I am. I'm the adjutant of American Legion Post 101. I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
And I was one of the organizers of Post 101, and I'm in charge each year of the Veterans Day ceremony here in Missoula, the courthouse Doughboy statue ceremony. And that's what we're basically here to talk about is this year's Veterans Day ceremony, which is coming up in 2 weeks from today, as a matter of fact.
And you tend to have a theme every year. What is your theme this year?
Every year we do, and we try to get the focus of the Veterans Day. I mean, obviously, there's the observation of Veterans Day is recognizing veterans, but we want to add a specific focus. This year, the theme is going to be "So You Think the Battle Is Over," and it's actually a reminder to soldiers, to veterans, and to the citizenry that once the soldier comes back from war, the war isn't necessarily over. And it's not just not over for the soldiers, not over for their families. And there's a lot of work to be done by veterans, by the citizens, by the country to take care of veterans. And that's the battle that's being fought. The battle, it's actually a line from a Johnny Cash song. And it's about basically that even though we put down the guns, even though there's no sound of the cannons, there's still a battle being waged.
Yeah.
So during the ceremonies, which veterans from which wars can we expect to see here?
Well, all wars. Of course, there are no World War I veterans left. The World War II era that's always represented in Korea and Vietnam, and more we're getting the Afghan and Iraq vets to come out to the ceremony. So it's universal. It's not just about Vietnam veterans. I happen to be a Vietnam veteran, but it's a day to celebrate veterans, and it's unlike Memorial Day. It's not just those who died in war on Veterans Day. It's all those who served.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a lot of gray hair and no hair, and you'll see a lot of young people out there.
And so what's it like to talk to these young guys that are just coming back from the war in Iraq and Afghanistan?
You know, it's interesting because as a Vietnam veteran, of course, we had some issues. We had a lot of issues coming back, and there's some differences. The age difference. We were 19 in Vietnam. They're older, but they have some different problems. And we came back. You know, the diagnosis of PTSD didn't exist when we came back from Vietnam. Agent Orange was not accepted as a legitimate problem for about 10 years after we got back from Vietnam. These veterans are coming back with different problems, but they're still problems that they're facing. And one of the sad statistics that denotes those problems is you'll see a lot of the suicide rate among the younger veterans. It's nearly about the same as it was with Vietnam veterans. And with Vietnam veterans, 58,000 Americans were killed in Vietnam, and over 70,000 Vietnam veterans have committed suicide in the years since the war. So you're seeing that with these other vets as well.
Is there a higher rate of suicide for the younger veterans than the older?
It's hard to say that it's higher now, but it's right up there. It's competing, if that's something one calls it competing. But it's right up there, and by the time they've reached our age, it may be a higher rate. But it's definitely high, and it's too high. There's no reason why people who serve their country should come back and not have the treatment, not have the care, not have the things they need that end up leading them to something as drastic as that. And that's one of the things that this "So You Think the Battle Is Over" is trying to remind veterans and people that for example, the VA has to be prodded, and it's not just the politicians. There are things that we can do ourselves. And for example, we're honoring, going to recognize Brenda Desmond, who's a judge who created the Veterans Court here in town, because there are things that veterans can do as well. But the younger vets have problems that are going to have to be addressed, and my line is, they come back to yellow ribbons, but after an amount of time, those yellow ribbons turn into red tape as far as bureaucracy is concerned, and as far as them dealing with their problems. So we tend to mentor, if I can maybe.
Yeah, go ahead, by all means.
But we tend to mentor the younger veterans and to basically telling them what we went through, so it's a matter of veterans serving veterans.
I think that's so rewarding, and I
That's-
feel like the guys really get a lot out of that.
Yeah, because
can
I have
imagine it
I've
too.
had I have friends who've been in the Iraq War and all that stuff, and like they always like tell me there's like people like me would never understand what it's like.
Yeah.
For sure, and I mean it's great that veterans helping veterans. So speaking of which, what are some of the programs that if if you're a veteran at home and you're watching this and you catch this, where can people find you or get in touch with any veterans programs that could help?
Well, we do have an email, alpost101@gmail.com. People call the number 406-240-4471. We can talk to them, get involved in some of our activities. But probably the best thing that veterans can do is come together, support one another. When, for example, come to this Veterans Day ceremony, you're going to meet a lot of other veterans there, and you're going to find some of the people who can help you out. And this year's ceremony will be again. Hopefully, the weather won't be so cold that we have to move inside, but it'll be at the Doughboy statue, and we have some speakers and a chance for everybody who comes to lay a flower in remembrance of a veteran important in their life. And it's a good ceremony, but it's a chance for veterans to share their problems and their pride as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Where can people find more information about you guys?
Well, again, getting the email and the phone number. Another thing is if people frequent the Old Post Pub, that happens to be the Post 101 business establishment, so they can certainly come by there, leave messages, and we'll get back with them. And the other thing is to call the American Legion in Department of Montana in Helena, and they can pass on our information to them.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say? Give a shout out.
Just the Veterans Day is November 11th. It's 2 weeks from today, and our ceremony starts at 11 o'clock in the morning, which of course is the 11th hour, the 11th day, 11th month when World War I ended. That's why we do it at 11. But it'll be 11 o'clock, last about an hour. Dress warmly, but come and take part in the ceremony. And I think hopefully we'll be able to help a few people out in the process.
I think so too. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you, Noah.